The Leivonmäki National Park shows the diversity of the nature at central Finland at its best. However, it took decades from the first initiative for Haapasuo protection to the establishing of the national park.
En suota pelkää, mut sua.
Kerromme aluksi Leivonmäen kansallispuiston perustamisen.
At the beginning, we will tell you about the steps which finally led to establishing the Leivonmäki National Park. Archival material from the late 1970s is opening us some arguments about Haapasuo protection, and the history part culminates to decision at Parliament. The second part will tell us about the nature and show us guided routes on bogs, eskers, lakes and rivers. Haapasuo at Leivonmäki has experienced several fateful moments within decades. In the 1930s, the Community Unemployment Committee framed a train plan. In the 1950s, the Finland's alcohol company, Oy Alkoholiliike AB, was interested of the bog area, and in the 1970s, an energy company, Vapo Oy, wanted the area. Conservationists thought, however, that the valuable bog area should be preserved. The year 1979 set in an argument about the fate of the bog that attracted a lot of publicity in the press and TV. The bog Haapasuo at Leivonmäki is about 1,000 hectares. It is recognized as internationally valuable area and has belonged to different protection schemes for about 20 years. I would say that the Haapasuo as a whole is an invaluable area. It has developed during 10,000 years in the conditions at central Finland and stores the history of central Finland as well as other archives. Last summer, the council made a decision that the commune will ditch a part of the Haapasuo it owns, and which is actually in the middle of the area to be protected. The provincial government of central Finland ordered the area for an action ban. This ban is ending at the end of this month. If the state does not redeem the bog after that, the commune may realize its threat. The commune is going after the area for peat production, and 3 years ago the eastern part of the bog is separated for that. The western part was for preservation. The deal did not become true, and the Council of State decided to disseize 500 hectares of the bog for preservation, which is considered as historical test case in the Ministry of Agriculture. Before this, the disseizing has not been used to gain land for environmental conservation. A fear for compulsory purchase was haunting in the minds of local citizens when the government was acquiring land areas for preservation using conservation programs for eskers, shores and old forests. A Haapasuo-Syysniemi conservation area of about 2,000 hectares was founded in the 1990s. After the arguments about the Natura areas were made up, the decision makers of municipality started to think about national park covering the same area and bearing the municipality name. A delegation from Leivonmäki presented the national park proposal for the Finnish Parliament in a Parliament seminar amongst 14 other proposals for national parks.
Kun parikymmentä vuotta sitten maanomistajat ja kunnat pelkäsivät kansallispuistoja kuin...
It is only 20 years when landowners and communities were afraid of national parks, but nowadays they are really wanted. There are 15 applications for natural parks in the ministry. The environmental conservation areas are perceived as strengths for the commune. The Leivonmäki National Park was selected for the final preparation for a legislative proposal out of 15 proposals. Pentti Tiusanen, the chairman of Environmental Committee, backed up the founding of the national park in all stages. The founding of Leivonmäki National Park is a result of a hard work of people at central Finland and in Leivonmäki. It is a real achievement which is seeing its end today at Parliament. Final decision was made by Satu Hassi, Minister of the Environment, based on the proposition of Senior Inspector Jukka-Pekka Flander. The choice was based for natural values, biodiversity values and representativeness as nature of bog lands. Was the process for Leivonmäki National Park very complicated or typical? Yes, it was in the class of complicated. The opposition was hard for years. The law for the Leivonmäki National Park was accepted at Finnish Parliament in the autumn of 2002. The draft of a proposed law is accepted.
Tätä hetkeähän on odotettu todella.
This moment has been waited for a long time. Welcome to the Leivonmäki National Park.
Tule Leivonmäen kansallispuistoon, eräluonnosta rauhan sä saat. Tule Leivonmäen kansallispuistoon, eräluonnosta rauhan sä saat.
The transfer of eastern side of Haapasua for the bead industry was a big and irreversible loss in the bog conservation point of view. Also part of the conserved Haapasua area and other bog areas in the national park were drained during decades. The embanking of ditches was started before park founding by voluntary work. The Finnish Forest and Park Service, which is taking care of national park, started a vast reconstruction work in different parts of Haapasua and bogs in Syysniemi area. The reconstruction of economic forests has been done by burning and cutting down the trees. So the human touch will slowly disappear and the area is going back to natural state.
No, täällä on tehty viimeisen 3 kuukauden aikana niin sanottua ennallistamistyötä.
We have done a reconstruction work here for the last 3 months. Our guys have been cutting down all trees that have been growing after ditching in the 1950s and in the 1960s. Those trees are brought here by the winter road. In the next summer, the ditches will be filled. The bog will be recovered to its original state, which it was before ditching. They were practically fenced. Tree stands grown after ditching will be removed. If there are old pines or other old trees, they will be saved. The Leivonmäki National Park is the 35th national park in Finland. It attracts visitors especially from Jyväskylä area, but has found favor also with visitors from longer distance. The location nearby one of the Finnish main roads, road number 4, easy and versatile hiking routes, and educational material that can be used in environmental education, are bringing also school children and families with children to the area. In the nature conservation point of view, the most valuable area in the park is the western part of Haapasua, where a hiker can make acquaintance of using a 2-kilometer-long walking path starting from the Kirveslämpi parking area. The path goes partly as duck ports on bog and around ponds. From the same parking area starts also the walking paths to Luupää route, to western side of the Esker, and to Harjulahti beach, which is swimming beach maintained by Joutsa community. During the wintertime, there are ski tracks along which is easy to get to know the area. The surface of the Haapasuo is formed on the alteration of dry areas and wet areas. Those can be easily seen from aerial view. The bog contains diverse nature of boglands, rich woodlands, and pine swamps. The middle of Haapasuo is an open fen covered by sphagnum peat. In some places you can find eutrophic fens, but mainly the Haapasuo is a low nutritious raised bog. Low nutrition is because the vegetation gets its water only from the sky. That is why only these undemanding plants are growing here, but yet manifold. Bog area changes its phases according to the seasons and time of the day. The autumn mist and color of moss, the quiet dimness of midwinter, or clear frosty day are making every trip to bog unique. The spring is the best time for flowers, such as leatherleaf, bog rosemary, and cloudberry flowers among sphagnum moss. Among the moss, there are several sedge families, of which the downy white hare's tail cottongrass is the most visible. During summertime, you may see sundew catching insects for food. Pine swamps in the bog edge zones are growing heady-smelling marsh tea, and you may see also beautiful heath-spotted orchids. In the end of the summer, you may find orange cloudberries on the moss tussocks, and the small pink flowers of cranberries has changed to dark red berries. Those can be picked until the snow is falling down. Haapasuo is a significant bird protection area. From the bird tower at Kirveslampi path, you may follow birds coming to their home bog. For many birds, such as crane, European golden plover, or wood sandpiper, the Haapasuo is an important nesting area. The strong sound of black-throated diver from lakes, the hoot of owls, and the display gurgle of black crows are familiar sounds for a hiker. The Leivonmäki National Park is known also for beautiful eskers and hogbags. Harjujärvi Esker is going through bogs in the southern part of National Park. It can be reached on Luupää path, which starts on Kirveslampi car park. In a midsummer night, it is possible to hear the abouth sound of endangered bird of European nightjar, which is also chosen as a symbol for the Leivonmäki National Park.
Ja tämä Leivonmäen kansallispuisto on koko Keski-Suomessa.
The Leivonmäki National Park is one of the most important distributions of the European nightjar in central Finland, and that is why it is chosen for symbol of the national park. On the Luupää path and bank of Harjujärvi, there is an open shelter serving also physically handicapped people. From the shelter to Turasenlampi, there is a path and duckboards suitable for wheelchair. By the Luupää path, you can find guideboards presenting the geology of the area. These boards are showing how the landscape was formed during and after the Ice Age. The most visible marks of the Ice Age can be seen in the structure of the eskers. Bigger stones, gravel and fine ingredients are sorted on different layers according to changing water flow force during seasons.
Se, että siinä on tämmöinen sora-aineksesta muodostunut rakenne, se tarkoittaa...
Coarse gravel in eskers is enabling a good filtration for water. Eskers are natural formation places for groundwater. Joutsniemi esker is jutting to Rutajärvi from the north and is a continuation for the eskers in the south. Here, the Ice Age has formed landscape to be quite sharply outlined. Typical for hogback landscape, at Leivonmäki National Park there are kettle pits formed after the Ice Age due to the melting of big ice blocks.
Tässä on aika tyypillinen suppa, suomalainen suppa, joka on syntynyt sillä tavalla, että irtonainen jäälohkare...
Here is a typical kettle pit, which was formed when a loose ice block floating on water was buried in gravel during the Ice Age and melted afterwards when the climate became warmer. The remaining pit is quite well defined. The nature of Syysniemi, the northern part of Joutsniemi, can be reached from the paths starting at Selänpohja car park. A path to south is following the banks of Rutajärvi and passing by Erijärvi, where you can find white lesser butterfly orchids perfume in the air at midsummer. By following the path, you can find Lintuniemi shelter, where is also place for camping. Joutsniemi esker is jutting to Rutajärvi as 2-kilometer long narrow cape. On the top of the esker, there is a path used for decades. On the halfway in a dell, the path is branching and the smaller path is leading to Joutsniemi fireplace and to the sand beach. The bigger path is leading to the end of the cape. By the bank there are several stone piles, landmarks representing the old ownership of the bank. Besides beautiful landscapes, the Syysniemi has excellent ground for picking mushrooms, blueberries and lingonberries. The highlight of the hiking day is sitting by the fire, having coffee and packed lunch. Lake Rutajärvi has a central position in Leivonmäki National Park, offering several possibilities for moving on water. The surface of the lake was lowered at one time, and for that reason there are countless small islands in the lake. A Salmela channel is connecting the eastern part and western parts of Rutajärvi. The channel makes it possible to transfer through narrow, winding and beautiful waterway to different parts of lake. There are fire and shelter places suitable for camping on the islands. One is at island Niinisaari on the northern part of Rutajärvi, called Ranskalainen. On the northern part of Rutajärvi there is various species of birds, such as lesser black-backed gull, which has become rare. Black-throated diver, fishing eagle and swan are also nesting in the area. Rutajärvi is popular among fishermen. The fish population is abundant and it is possible to catch pike, pike perch, burbot and trout or even European Cisco. By the Lake Päijänne, next to the river outfall of River Rutajoki, is located a beautiful and lively village of Rutalahti. From the yard of Koskikara School starts a Koskikara route, which leads to the river nature of National Park. River Rutajoki is famous for its rapids that are steep and fall-like. During the way of 6 kilometers from Rutajärvi to Päijänne, there is a 45-meter difference in altitude. By the riverbanks, there is growing rich vegetation such as bog myrtle with a strong aroma. Rutajoki is also a home of a water meter, which is an endangered species. In 2009, there was opened a Porttikoski bridge crossing over the Rutajoki. It also opened a connecting path to other parts of National Park. Welcome to an inauguration of this bridge and a new route. I will give the floor to the Minister of Education, Henna Virkkunen. Here today we have opened and ceremonially cut a ribbon for a new bridge and Koskikara route. This is an excellent example how we can enhance the availability and use of national parks by simple means. After the Porttikoski bridge, the path is continuing through pine forests up to Matkusvuori Hill. On the way towards Syysniemi area and Soimalampi fireplace, Finnish Forest and Park Service has reconstructed bogs and forest, which can be seen as an area of cut-down trees. The Soimalampi shelter and fireplace is a nice place for a rest or even swimming at pond. The path through pine forests is finally ending to Selänpohja car park area, where the other Syysniemi paths are starting.
Pian kansallispuiston perustamisen jälkeen
Soon after the Leivonmäki National Park was established, a charitable association with the park name was set up. Children and youth have been a long time in the center of action. The main theme for the Friends of National Park in this year is a nature quiz for children and youth, which is now open. The Friends of National Park would like to give 10 pieces of snowshoes for their godparent school, Kurkiaura. Together with Finnish Forest and Park Service and Joutsa Commune, we maintain skiing path during the wintertime. Friends of Leivonmäki National Park arrange different expeditions. We have brought also elderly citizens to the national park for recreation. The association is taking care of Syysniemi traditional farm by moving bees, and it is participating in realization of nature tower. Leivonmäki National Park is growing and developing. It has been great to live through its many phases. Besides experiences in nature, I have had an opportunity to enjoy many unique art happenings at Leivonmäki, together with many friends of Park.
Ja minä vaan tämmönen mammatonen suolla ryömin ja suota tömistelen. Voi voi, voi voi.
Syysniemi, Haapasuo, luonnon puhdas kauneus tuo, virkistää ja voimaa antaa. Tulen Leivonmäen kansallispuistoon, eräluonnosta rauhan sä saat. luonnosta rauhan sä saat.
Bogs are national landscape for Finnish people. When you move in the nature and meet even a small bog pond with fen, it is a refreshing experience.
Kyllä se on aina niin kuin virkistävä elämässä.